We are going to talk about work-life balance. I chose this topic because life is all about having a balance. Okay, so that is it, work-life balance. How does it go? From this, I want to talk about what is work-life balance, the importance of work-life balance, negative effects or risk related to work-life balance. Then we talk about how can work-life balance be achieved. Then we share tips for achieving work-life balance. So this is how my presentation will go. All right. So what is work-life balance? When we talk about work-life balance, it means work-life balance is the term used for the idea that you need time for both work and other aspects of life, whether family-related or personal interests. Then you also have to rest. So that is how it goes. And I say here that rest is very vital for productive work. All work and no play make Jack a dull boy, just as all play will be dull. So we need to be very careful and then think of balancing our time. How did it happen? In the 80s, during the Industrial Revolution, unions agreed that workers need a day off. That is how they came about. Then later, they decided that it should be two days, which became a weekend. And during that time, when workers go on the 2 days, they are able to rest very well because there was no technology. And then they were able to just stay away and rest. They don't worry about what is going on behind them at work. So they were able to rest. Now, what is happening now? Our time today, the recent time, because of technology, even when you are off work, you are still working 24 hours because you are using a device that everybody calls you, or you yourself will keep working. So the smartphones, the remote technology, and the like have meant that even on holidays, people find it hard to switch off and genuinely rest. And so it was really a problem to the individual. Okay, so that's a picture of it, showing how the person is at home, but all the same, he's working, meaning that he's not resting. Okay, some incidents of work-life balance. According to research, both males and females experience poor work-life balance. Another research found out that employees perceived that employers who are married or employers who are not married are better off with work-life balance than those who have families. So it means when you don't have a family, you can balance your time very well. But when you have a family, it's difficult to balance your time between work and then your personal life. That is what Dakun Asumadu and Tel came up with in 2018. The same study also found out that women experience more work-life conflict than men. Again, they also reported that work-life balance responsibilities have a more adverse effect on women than on men. That is how they concluded it. And then they found out that employees were not adequately satisfied with their time for social and family roles. So these are what the few researches I looked at were talking about. So this attests to the fact, the picture attests to the fact that women face a lot of difficulties with work-life balance. All right, so I came up with certain factors affecting satisfaction with work-life balance. There are certain factors that affect how individuals find satisfaction in work-life balance. And what are they? There's the workplace support. When you have support at the workplace, you tend to do better because it is not like you alone working. You have ideas from other people. You have support from them. So the ideas will make you do well on your job, and at the same time will help you save some time for yourself. So a workplace support is very important. Then also work interference with personal life is also a factor that affects satisfaction. If however your work is interferes with your personal life, you may not find satisfaction in yourself and in your work as well. The same way, when it turns around, personal life interfering with work also doesn't give satisfaction. So it means then there should be a balance. Okay. Then when there's proper work-life balance, there's effectiveness at work. So this is a study that was done by Chong and Van. And then it was echoed by Peng and et al. As well in 2021. Okay, so what are the importance of work-life balance? Why do we even have to think of balancing our time between our work and our personal lives? I have it as it is very documented that rest, and particularly being to detach from work, is very vital. Very vital. And this leads to reduction or reducing stress. It also minimizes health problems, because when you are able to rest, you revitalize your system, and it puts you on a productive mood. Then also, it also boosts engagement. When you are able to balance your work as with your personal life well, it minimizes burnout. You will not be so stressed out at work. Then also, it accelerates mindfulness. It helps you to be thoughtful and think through the present. Then it increases self-satisfaction, as we looked at with our previous slide. When you're able to balance your time well, you feel very fulfilled, and it leads to self-satisfaction. It also improves health, and then increases job satisfaction. So these are the importance of work-life balance I came up with. Now let's look at the negative effect. If you're not able to balance your time well, balance your work and your personal time well, what happens? It leads to health risk, because you will not be able to position yourself well. It will lead to stress, it will lead to anxiety, and even depression, and all kind of psychological risk, and as well as physical health risk. There's sleep deprivation. It also leads to sleep deprivation. It leads to fatigue. The individual becomes so tired because things are not working out well for both work and his or her personal life. There is stress, especially chronic stress, because the individual keeps stressing every day, and there's no way out for him or her. There's absenteeism. When individuals are not finding a balance between their work and then their personal life, they tend to have all sorts of health risk, which may lead to absenteeism. because the person is not well and will not be able to come. The person doesn't have a sound mind and will not be able to go to work. So the person absents himself. There's this also, it also leads to presenteeism, which leads to poor production. When we talk about presenteeism, what do we mean? We mean that the individual will go to work all right, will be at work, but then though her physical being is at work, her mind is not at work. Therefore, she or he will not have a sound mind to work. And so it affects production. She will be there physically, but the mind is not at work. So she's not producing well. She's not concentrating for her to be productive. Okay. Then also, when you are not able to balance your time well between your work and your personal life, it also leads to financial loss. And the financial loss can come from a lot of angles, especially when you go to work and you are not productive. You can't produce to gain anything. Okay. Then there's also petty internal conflicts with the individual. Okay. So these are what the health hazards you face. My picture is telling a lot here. Okay. So we'll move on. Then the issue is, having known all this, what can we do? How can we balance our time? I have few tips that I want to share with the group. Okay, so under A, achieving a work-life balance can be challenging, but the following can help. So the number one is identify an ideal scenario. Okay, so what are you thinking of balancing? What work are you doing? And you think you should balance the work with your own life. Okay, so first, you need to know where you are. Where are you now? Then where you want to be. So it leads you to think about how you would like your life to be. So it goes like that. And the question here is, what will be the ideal balance between the work I'm doing and my home? The next question is, how will you like to be spending your time? Okay, so I have few tips. We'll start with it. I have the clock for an activity. And the clock here explains that, let me go through with you. One very useful technique for this is the clock. And how does it work? It advises that you can draw 2 clock faces on a page. One will serve as an ideal weekday, and then the other one serves as a weekend. Okay, so having done that, then with each of the clock faces, you split the day up into chunks to show how you would like to spend your day. So on the other clock that has the weekend, you have to split it into the days and then know how you will spend your day. For example, how much time will you spend in bed? How much time in doing chores and others? Then other necessary but boring things should also come on. Then you also have to have how much time at work, then how much time on the other things. So you should have this on one clock. When doing that, you do the same thing for the other clock that serves the weekend. So with your weekend, how do you want to spend it? Do you want to add chores, sending children for games or activities, or reading around, or having relaxation or something? You should have them on. So be specific about other things. Example, playing with children, practicing a musical instrument, or learning a language. It's activity. So it should go on the clock. Then how much on other things too should go on the clock. Okay. The discipline of having a clock face forces you to fit your activities into the time available. And you can see whether you are your ambitions are realistic. Okay, whether your ambitions are realistic. So when you are able to do this, it helps you to figure out what you are doing. And it helps you to know whether you are doing something good for yourself. You can expand this to 7 clocks if you want, meaning that each clock will represent one day. Then on the clock, each clock surface, you divide them into chunks for your daily activities. So if you do that, it helps so well. It helps you to know the time you spend on every activity. And so it leads and helps you to balance your time well between your work and then your personal life. So this is how one aspect of it. If you don't understand, probably when we finish, you can ask more questions. Okay, then the second tip is that you should think of what you need to change, what you want to change in your life. So what do you want to change with your future? You realize you are doing so much. Now, we don't want to do those things anymore to affect your health. So what do you want to change? So here, the first point is that identify 3 to 5 key changes that will help you to move from now to your future. Then if you have identified that you want to alter weekend overtime to another hour in the evening or Sunday night, then what do you need to do to achieve it? What I mean here is that, so when you are able to identify the things you want to change because they are stressing you and they are not helping you have a rest, you after having identified them, then you think of what are you going to do? Probably, the example I gave here is probably you want to alter your weekends overtime to 1 hour. Probably you were doing 2 hours. You were doing it in the morning. Now you want to do it in the evenings on Sundays, knowing that when you do that, you have some rest. So that is how you can alternate. Okay, so let's look at concrete steps that one can do or undertake with these changes. Okay. So having done these changes, having thought of what you want to change, now what you can do for yourself is tell colleagues that you will not be checking your emails at weekend again because you have moved it to another time, which you think can give you rest. Then put your work phone and computer away somewhere during the weekend. So because you don't want to be working during the weekends anymore, those gadgets, the technology that keeps you moving, you have to put them away so that nobody calls you on it. And then the computer, you will not check your mails anymore so that you can have some rest. Okay. If your work emails come to your personal smartphone, what you have to do is remove the account and get another phone for it so that you can have some rest. Okay, then also you tell family members that this is what you intend doing. So when they see you checking your mails, they have to prompt you. They have to remind you that, oh, you said you will not check your mails during the weekend again. You are now checking your mails. So the moment they remind you, you put it off. It's a form of checking yourself. Okay. Then also put on out of office notifications on your emails to remind people that from henceforth, you are not going to receive mails during weekends. You are doing all this for you to balance yourself, to have some rest or to have some time for your personal needs. And no, it's not all about work 24 hours. Okay, if you have enough time outside work, but you feel that it is all swallowed up by chores, then there are some steps that you can also go about do to help you have some rest. So let's look at the steps. So here you can think of probably, if you can afford a cleaner, you can hire a cleaner, or you can ask your spouse and children, if appropriate, to help you do your chores and agree on a reasonable split or quota for them. Okay, then identify one day off, which is chore free, meaning that this day, or probably on Sundays, we are not going to cook in the house. We will all go out and have dinner outside. So when you do that, you have some rest for yourself, and you are able to also enjoy life. Okay. Then also, you may need to learn to be more open with your colleagues, and particularly start to say no if anyone asks you to take on more loads. That's very important. But once you start looking to make changes, you may be surprised how easy it is to achieve a better work-life balance. So making changes is also very important. And saying no is very important. Therefore, it means that the individual has to be assertive. You don't have to take on what you cannot. Okay, so learn to say no. How do we learn to say no? This is without a doubt one of the most important skills any professional can have. But it can be the most difficult to learn and get used to using it. What do I mean? It's very difficult for individual to say no when you think you can help, but because you want to rest, you need to say no. And sometimes it's very difficult. But saying yes is so much easier than saying no. However, when you say no, you avoid unwanted negotiations, because you have come to me and I said, oh no, I can't do it now. I can do it maybe on Monday. So it means that I have cut myself from negotiating with me, whether, oh, can you do it at 6 o'clock? Oh, can you do it at 6 a.m.? Oh, can I have it now? It all ceases. So that is very good to say no. But you will look good to senior staff, and you can work towards being the go-to person if you learn to say no. However, when you say yes, it brings unreasonable deadlines on you. And it even may cause you to use your nights in doing some activities, either for the work or for other activities. So saying no is very, very good if you want to make a change in your life. Okay. Then another tip I want to talk about to help you achieve work-life balance is better time planning. So being on top of your time will reduce waste hours, and it will help you to keep deadlines. More importantly, make you look good at work. So if you are able to balance your time well, you feel very, very good and very relaxed. But when you are not able to balance your time well, that is when you feel overwhelmed. So all this, if you're able to balance your time well, it all leads to a better work-life balance. So we have to learn to plan and organize and prioritize our time, meaning that you should plan such a way that you do the most important thing first before you consider those ones that are not too urgent or too important. And this gives you some rest. Okay, then also we should learn to be less perfect. If we are always thinking of perfection, then we will not have any rest. So this may help you enjoy better life. Sometimes you need to tell yourself that what you have done may not be perfect, but it is good enough. And that will even give you more rest. So don't put extra pressure on yourself when you don't need to, both at work and home. So we need to accept something that is good enough. Sometimes, if you really want to have some emotional, psychological, and physical rest, you need to learn to just let the issue of being perfect go. So learning to accept minor things like mess and unorganized workspace will help you feel less stressed at work or home, allowing you to focus on what is important. So it means if you allow yourself a little mess, you don't think of, oh, let him put this right. I have to put this right. I have to gather this. I have to move this. I have to do that. And you go, you tell yourself that, oh, just something good is enough. You'll be happy with yourself. Okay, then we should also learn to become physically healthy. We should maintain a healthy lifestyle. It is believed that being physically fit can lead to a better work-life balance. How do you go about it? Undertake exercise. That will make you feel relaxed. Exercise like mindfulness. You know, it's a whole psychological intervention. Then yoga will help you relax. The easiest way to begin being healthier is you have to begin things one day at a time. If you want to exercise, you don't just start running. If that will worry you, you just start making some small walks. Then maybe later you start running in small paces, then you move on. So that is how the exercise goes. Okay. Then also, if you want to balance your time, you also have to learn to socialize better. How do you do it? You need to socialize in the hours outside work, especially if your job is very demanding. Learning to be more social, both in and out of the workplace, can make you feel better and fulfilled. It's all about having a break. So it's not all about working all throughout 24 hours. You should have some time for a break. And that will really help you to rejuvenate or reconstruct yourself better. Okay, so this are some pictures to let you see how it is. All right. Okay, then another tip is to let go of, it's the same thing, the perfection we talked about. This is one of the keys to let go. So as life gets more expanded, it's very hard, both neurologically and physiologically, to keep the habit of professionalism. The healthier option is to strive not for perfection, but for excellence. So the office, yes, so this is by Marilyn, that the healthier thing to do is not to strive for perfection, but to think of being excellent. And that doesn't put too much stress on you. Okay. Then another tip here is to unplug. What do we mean by unplug? When we say unplug, we mean that the technology that helps you to stay out all throughout, you need to shut it. Though technology is helpful, it has also created a lot of things, a lot of health hazard to us. So we need to shut it. So by not reacting to updates from work, you will develop a strong habit of resilience. So resilient people feel a greater sense of control over their lives, whilst reactive people have less control and are more prone to stress. This is a study that was found by a professor at the Harvard Medical School, professor in psychology at the Harvard Medical School, that when you are able to just cut off your device and rest, you are able to bounce back. And people who are able to bounce back have more control over their lives. And it's become very, very helpful. It also helps one to make quality time, true quality time. By not reacting to updates from phones or mails, you are able to have that time for your personal needs. And it helps you to relax very well. Now, there's also another aspect of exercise I want us to know. It is known physiologically that when you exercise, you produce a naturally happy hormone called endorphin. And endorphin helps you to be naturally happy. You don't need any medication to make you happy. You don't need anything. But when you exercise, your body produces a natural hormone called endorphin. And this hormone makes you feel good. So it is called feeling good hormone. So exercise will help you do that. And it is also good to dedicate a few of time each week to self-care so that your body, mind, and soul are being refreshed. So for example, you can use yoga. Yoga, yoga is like this. You stay like this and keep meditating. So yoga usually goes with meditation and it helps you relax yourself. Okay, so if you are pressed for time, start small. Start small with deep breathing exercise during your journey to and from work, or a quick 5-minute meditation session for morning and night. So if you are in a hurry, what you can do is a quick deep breathing. Deep breathing, if I have time, I will teach deep breathing, how to do deep breathing. So you learn to do deep breathing whilst you are going to work or when you are coming back. Or if you can spare some few minutes to meditate, it can also help you to relax. Okay, then another tip is also limit time wasting activities and people. So how do you do it? You first have to identify what is most important in your life. And this list will differ from each other. My list for what is important will be different from Barbara's list. So we are different. So we have different lists that shows our important activities or important people we want to relate to when we are not at work. Okay, then we can also draw boundaries so that you devote quality time for higher prioritized people and activities. So we should learn to draw boundaries. You don't have to just allow anybody to come to your closet at any time. You should have a closed cycle where people cannot, a lot of people cannot enter, and that will help you. Okay. Then also, you have to change the structure of your own life. How do you change it? Many a times we think our habits are set on stones, meaning that it can't be changed. No, life is not static. Life is dynamic. You need to move on. You need to make changes. You need to have plan B when plan A is not working. So you don't have to be static at one particular thing, that this is how I do it. So every day you go by that, whether you have time or not. When you go by that, you will stress yourself because sometimes you need, whatever you think that thing is, may need a lot of time and you may not have that time on your hand all the time. So does it mean you have to waste some other time and do that? No, you have to alternate. So you plan to unplan and then you live a life as life is dynamic and not static. So here, the example I have is take a bird's eye view of your life and ask yourself, what changes can make my life easier? For example, instead of trying to do it all, focus on activities you specialize in and value most. All right. Then delegate or outsource everything else. So what you need to do is do what you think nobody can do it best except you. Then there will be other things that you think, oh, this one I can let somebody do it. So you delegate. Many a times I teach my clients that delegate and supervise. Don't think that without you, nobody can do that thing. Somebody can do it, but supervise it so that you have it the way you want it to be. So delegating can be a win-win situation. If you supervise, you have what you want. If you don't supervise, you may not have what you want. Okay, then find out what you can also do to let go in ways that benefit others by giving them opportunity to grow. So when you sometimes delegate, you give opportunity to others to grow because you also practice on whatever you have asked them to do, and then they will grow in it. This will free you up so you can devote attention to your own higher priorities. Okay, so that is how it also goes. Okay, so in work-life balance, there's a feeling of control, which is a key. People think they have to be in control. So you need to control your own life so that you will have a rest or you have time for your personal life. It will not be all about work. And then it will not also be all about your personal life. So you should strike a balance. And the control is with you, the individual. You need to control it. There's also the issue of anxiety. If we work well, we reduce anxiety, which is also a feeling of control. Then also you have to draw a line. You must decide what is important and what is not. How do you draw this line? You can draw this line by asking yourself one simple question a few times a day. For example, what is the most important thing to do right now? So as you keep working, then you'll be asking yourself, what is the most important thing to do right now? Whatever I'm doing, is it important? Can I wait and do this later? Or I need to do it now? So when you keep asking yourself these questions, it helps you to save your own time. And I put here a scale of preference. There's a subject or a topic in economics called scale of preference. So you put your work in such that you arrange your work in order of importance and solve them as such. And this helps you to relax. Okay, the main problem people have is they try to do it all and treat everything as important. You can't do it all, and everything is also not important. So this is what we should know for us to have a balance in our work as well as our personal life. Everything is, just as I said, everything is not equally important. It's never done. It's not that in life. So we need to do fewer things and do them well. We have to decide what value are, what our values are, and which ones take precedence over the other. Just as I said, scale of preference. There's this model somebody, Pareto came about, 2020 principle. What does it say? It says that most of the 80%, most of the things we do can be at just 20%. And that 20%, we can achieve 80% results. What he's saying is, whatever we do, we don't do 100%. Sometimes we do just 20%, and that 20% yields a lot of results than to go 50 or 100%. So the advice here is that then focus on that 20% and do it. Don't struggle to do either 50 or even go to 100, knowing that whatever you do, it is the 20% that gives you more results. So focus on that one and do it. Okay, then do the important things which must be done now. This sends us to a model that was proposed by one of the US presidents. Per my research, he was the 34th president of the United States. and he had 5-star general during the World War II. And he presented this idea, which has become known as Eisenhower matrix or matrix. So how does it work? The Eisenhower matrix is a way to organize tasks by urgency and then importance. So you can effectively prioritize your work, which is most important to you. So let's look at the way the matrix is here. That is it. So with this model, he's saying that it's not everything that you have to do which is important. So he came up with the fact that there are some other things which are important and not urgent. So when it is not urgent, you decide on where you do it. Though it is important, yes, it is important to wash my clothing, but is it so urgent to do it now? Or I can do it maybe in an hour's time, or maybe in the evening or early in the morning. So if you realize that it's not too urgent, then you decide as to when you want to do it. Okay, then there's also another side of it. There are other duties or other things that you want to do which are urgent and very important. Those ones, you need to do them immediately. So these are the positive aspects. Now, when we come to the negative aspects, what is here? There are things that are not important, neither are they urgent. So you don't force yourself doing it at a time that you need to rest or at a time that you need to go to work. So possibly if you have to go to work, are you not going to say that I'm going to sweep my living room? Your living room can be there. That is why I said allow for some mess. It can be there and you quickly go to work and come back. When you come back, you can sweep it. So such duty, you do it later. It's not urgent, it's not important. So you don't really have to worry yourself over it. Then also, there are other things that are urgent, but they are not important. Yes, this thing needs to be done, but they are not so important that I cannot delegate to somebody. So if you think whatever you want to do is important, but it is not very, it is urgent, but it's not very important, you can tell somebody to do it. At work, you can assign someone to do it. At home, you can assign somebody to do it. When I talked about some of the points, tips, I talked about the fact that you can ask your spouse or children to help you with the chores you do or other activities. Somebody can go and buy the gas for you. Somebody can cut the vegetables for you. Somebody can also start the cooking for you whilst you also do something else. Okay. So that is what the model is talking about. So the Eisenhower matrix above reveals is about just something. It says that just because something is urgent doesn't mean it is important. Okay, so like I explained, you can let somebody do it, and being important doesn't mean it is urgent. So we should know that when we learn this model, it will help us do so well. So this is all about the model, important and not important. Okay, so with the model, tasks with deadlines or consequences, you have to do it. All right, schedules, that is tasks with unclear deadlines that contribute to long-term success, you should schedule it. Either you want to do it yourself, or you want to do it now, or you do it later, or anytime you can allot to the task is fine. Then also we have things that are not important. Here, tasks that must go, tasks that must get done, but doesn't require your specific skills. You have to let it go. Then you can also delegate when You have distractions and unnecessary tasks. So this is how the model of Eisenhower goes. All right. So this is all about what we are discussing. If you don't balance your life, your family life, your career, your health, your money, your vacation, and workplace, you will live in a state of confusion, a state of unhealth. You experience health hazards or risk and other things. So the most important thing is you have to balance your work and your life. And remember, you need rest as well to help you bounce back. All right. So in conclusion, life is all about balance. Too much or too little is not the best. Work and family are the primary domains of one's life. So we have to think of how we are balancing it. So good work-life balance builds a sense of confidence and responsibility. This improves overall well-being of an individual and organization. So we need to think seriously to balance our time, both work and life, private life, and then we'll feel good. Thank you so much for your attention.